When you use baby talk and simplified vocabulary with kids, you're not helping them, you're holding them back. Only the best language is good enough for a child. Often when adults speak with young children, our natural eloquence disappears, replaced by simple vocabulary and grammar. We believe we're making language more accessible to them, meeting them where they are. This approach is backwards. Instead of simplifying language for children, we should be offering them the richest, most advanced vocabulary we can provide. Charlotte Mason captured this principle beautifully when she wrote, "We spread an abundant and delicate feast in the programs, and each small guest assimilates what he can." She described introducing the children to literature as installing them in a very rich and glorious kingdom to bring a continual holiday to their doors, to lay before them a feast exquisitely served. The Lego Company's motto echoes this philosophy: only the best is good enough. The renowned music educator Zoltan Kodály insisted on the same principle. All recognized that children deserve excellence, not simplified versions of the real thing. Today we'll explore why simplified language limits children's development, how vocabulary exposure builds the brain, and why reading aloud creates the richest possible language environment. We make a critical mistake in how we think about children's language development. We assume that since children speak in simple terms, we should speak to them in simple terms too. This isn't how language acquisition works. Children don't learn language by having it explained to them. They learn by being immersed in it. Their brains are wired to extract patterns, meanings, and structures from the language they hear around them, even before they can produce those patterns themselves. A child's thinking is limited by their vocabulary. The language we provide shapes both their speech and thoughts. When we use baby talk or simplified vocabulary, we're creating an artificial environment that lacks the richness children need to develop robust language skills. We're essentially putting a ceiling on their language acquisition instead of providing a ladder. This mirrors what Ole Kirk Christiansen, Lego's founder, understood about toys. He refused to produce second-rate toys, famously burning imperfect wooden toys rather than selling them. He recognized that children deserve excellence, not dumbed-down versions of adult products. Children with richer language environments will develop stronger vocabulary skills and reading comprehension. When children hear advanced vocabulary and complex sentence structures, remarkable things happen in their developing brains. Neural connections form around language centers. Each new word a child encounters doesn't just add to their vocabulary, it creates pathways that enhance overall cognitive function. Language exposure literally builds brain architecture during critical periods of development. Exposure to varied vocabulary creates fast mapping, children's ability to quickly grasp the approximate meaning of a new word after just a few exposures. The more words children hear, the more efficient this process becomes, creating a snowball effect. Complex language helps children develop abstract thinking. When we use words like anticipate instead of wait for, or frustrated instead of mad, we're introducing nuanced concepts that help children develop more precise ways of understanding the world. Consider reading. Children who have been exposed to rich vocabulary have a tremendous advantage when learning to read, as they already understand many of the words they encounter on the page. They only need to connect the written form to the meaning they already know. This principle, that children deserve the best, applies everywhere. Just as Lego provides building blocks that allow for sophisticated creation while remaining accessible to children, we can provide language that is both rich and developmentally appropriate. One of the most powerful ways to flood children with rich language is through daily reading aloud from birth onward. As Jim Trelease explains in the Read Aloud Handbook, reading aloud is the single most important activity for building the knowledge required for eventual success in reading. When you read aloud to children, they're not bound by their decoding abilities. A 5-year-old can understand and enjoy literature written at a much higher level when it's read to them. This creates an extraordinary opportunity to expose them to vocabulary far beyond what they would encounter otherwise. The content of what you read matters tremendously. Charlotte Mason emphasized that children should be reading living books, works written by authors with passion and expertise. In contrast to watered-down textbooks, living books contain language that is vivid, precise, and beautifully crafted. Literature is also rich in rare words that everyday conversation and TV lack. Reading The Tale of Peter Rabbit exposes children to more varied and complex language than a cartoon adaptation. Create a home environment that nudges everyone toward books rather than screens. If reading aloud is as regular as brushing teeth, it becomes expected and welcomed. After reading, invite narration. Ask your child to tell back the story in their own words. This practice helps children process and own what they've heard. The same approach works wonderfully for discussing daily experiences. Say things like, "Tell me what you did at the park today." Remember that being read to isn't something children should age out of. Even teenagers benefit tremendously from hearing complex texts read aloud. As long as your child can bear it, continue this practice. Only the best is good enough for a child. This philosophy doesn't require advanced degrees or superhuman patience. It simply asks us to stop underestimating children, to offer our children a delectable feast of language so they'll be set up for a rich and authentic life. Start small. Use your normal vocabulary when speaking with your children. Read aloud with your children daily. Ask them to narrate back stories or experiences. Replace some screen time with book time. Your child deserves nothing less than the best language you can give. Not because they're fragile, but because they're remarkably capable. Only the best is good enough, and they're absolutely worth it.